Most people believe they need money to think like a millionaire, but the secret is actually the opposite. You only start building wealth when you learn to think like someone who already has it. Maybe you work hard, study, push yourself, but still feel stuck in the same place. That's because your mind is still operating in survival mode, not in creation mode. I used to believe that wealth was all about effort too. But when I understood that the game is mental, that the difference between an average worker and a millionaire lies in how they interpret value, everything changed. In today's video, how to think like a millionaire. Even if you're broke, I'll show you the mental triggers and internal shifts that make money flow toward those who think big, even before they have it. Stick around until the end, because the last insight is the one that transforms scarcity into abundance. Reprogramming "I'm poor" to "I can create value." Most people believe the path to getting rich starts with making more money. But think about it. If that were true, everyone working 2 jobs would already be a millionaire. The real difference is in mental logic. People with a common mindset focus on receiving. People with a millionaire mindset focus on creating value. They know money is just a reflection of usefulness delivered, not the starting point. An article from the Harvard Business Review showed that people who don't come from wealthy families first need to let go of limiting beliefs about not deserving before they can build wealth. HBR 2021. The study analyzed over 400 first-generation entrepreneurs in the U.S. and found that 82% only reached financial stability after shifting their self-image from survivor to value creator. Internal reprogramming came before any external growth. Want a practical tool? Every morning, write down 3 ways to create value today, without thinking about money. It could be a service that improves someone's day, a skill you can offer, or an idea that makes something more efficient. This small exercise, repeated for 30 days, shifts your focus from lack to production. And that's what the brain understands as abundance, movement, and purpose. Here's an example. Howard Schultz, former CEO of Starbucks. He didn't start by thinking about coffee. He started by thinking about community. He saw a problem, lack of connection in urban spaces, and created an environment where the product was a byproduct of the experience. The result? A billion-dollar brand. Schultz proved that those who solve problems build wealth. Those who chase money create frustration. This is the key point. "I'm poor" is a sentence of identity. "I can create value" is a statement of potential. The first keeps you stuck in survival. The second moves you toward creation. When you change the verb, you change the outcome. Because wealth is a result of behavior, and behavior is born from what you believe you can generate. So, try this. Pay attention to your everyday language. How many times do you say, "I can't," "I don't have," "It's not possible"? Each one reinforces scarcity. Replace them with, "I can't yet," "I don't have it yet," "What can I do to create this?" That small shift in language opens the door to action, and action is the only language money understands. The millionaire doesn't think in terms of having more, they think in terms of doing better. Time versus money, the leverage mindset. Most people still live trading time for money and think it's normal. They work by the hour, wait for their paycheck, and repeat the cycle for decades. That's the survival mindset. People with a millionaire mindset don't sell time. They build leverage, systems, products, teams, or assets that generate results even when they're not present. That's how time stops being an expense and becomes a multiplier. Writer Tim Denning describes it well. Ordinary people think about salary. Millionaires think about scale. What he means is, the poor see time as currency. The rich see time as a tool. A Stanford University study, 2020, analyzed 2,500 entrepreneurs and found that 89% of those who reached financial independence had created at least one source of income that didn't rely on their direct work time. That's real leverage. In practice, it starts simple. Identify one task today that you can automate, delegate, or scale. It could be a work process, a repetitive task, even a conversation that could be recorded once and reused. Create a 7-day mini plan to implement that change. The goal isn't to work more, it's to work smart once and reap continuous results. That's the opposite of the endless race for overtime. Want proof? An American marketing consultant named Alex turned his expertise into a digital info product. He used to work with 5 clients a month and earned well, but his limit was always time. When he recorded his strategies and sold them as a course, he started helping thousands of people without being physically present. He stopped trading hours for pay and started trading value for scale. The result was freedom, not just profit. Here's the big contrast. Saving pennies and cutting costs is useful, but it will never make you think like a millionaire if you keep selling your limited time. A rich mind doesn't focus on scarcity, it focuses on structure. While most people ask, how can I spend less? The financial elite ask, how can I multiply the same effort? That question changes everything, because it forces you to think like the owner of your time, not a prisoner of it. So, if you want to think like a millionaire, stop counting hours and start measuring impact. Ask yourself, what can I create today that will keep generating results even after I stop working? That's the real math of abundance. Millionaires don't have more time than you. They just use time as an investment, not as a currency. Invisible limiting beliefs. Money is dirty, I don't deserve it. Most people never get rich, not because they lack talent, but because they carry invisible beliefs about money. Phrases like, money is dirty, I don't deserve to make that much, or rich people are cold, get imprinted from childhood and shape every adult financial decision. The result is self-sabotage disguised as morality. The mind wants to prosper, but the subconscious hits the brakes. And while that belief stays intact, no financial plan can hold. A global study by Henley & Partners 2022 revealed that financially successful individuals share 3 dominant traits. They are more conscientious, more open to new experiences, and less conformist. In other words, they don't feel guilty about growth. The study analyzed 1,000 millionaires across 15 countries and showed that the worthiness factor, the belief that you're allowed to have more, was the strongest predictor of success, even more than family background. The common mistake is waiting to feel ready before taking action. The millionaire mindset does the opposite. It acts before feeling ready. That's the difference between emotion and decision. The average professional waits for confidence to begin. The millionaire builds confidence by beginning. They understand that clarity comes from action, not from overthinking. That's why every step they take reinforces their sense of worthiness. It's not arrogance, it's self-responsibility. A powerful tool to break limiting beliefs is the flip question technique. Whenever the thought, I can't, comes up, replace it with, what would I do if I knew I could? Write down the answer and act on it for 5 minutes. This small shift creates new neural pathways of possibility. According to neuroscience studies from UCLA, 2019, repeated microactions after a positive affirmation can rewire up to 30% of emotional responses tied to financial fear and guilt. Think about Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx. She started selling door-to-door, hearing no after no. But when she stopped thinking, who am I to create a brand? And started asking, how can I solve this problem better? Her life turned upside down. She built a billion-dollar company because she changed the question. The money came as a consequence of the mindset, not the other way around. So pay attention to the pattern. Every time you say, I don't deserve it, your brain listens. It stops looking for opportunities. But when you say, I can create value that deserves to be paid, your entire mental system starts working to validate that. Money isn't dirty, it's neutral. It only amplifies who you already are. That's why people who see themselves as small use money to prove worth. People who see themselves as big use money to multiply value. That's when the game truly changes. Networks, associations, and environment. The ecosystem of high performance. The millionaire mindset understands a truth most people ignore. No one grows alone. Environment is the biggest psychological mold of success. You can have discipline and talent, but if your circle lives in mediocrity, your mental standard will adjust to fit in. The brain seeks belonging, not evolution, unless you consciously choose the opposite, to surround yourself with people who think big. Tim Denning writes, environment is destiny. He noticed that most first-generation millionaires in the US experienced a decisive shift when they started hanging around people whose ambition levels were higher than theirs. Studies from Harvard Business School, 2021, confirm this. Participants exposed to high-performance networks increased their income by an average of 64% in 2 years, just by changing their social circle. No technical training had such a significant effect. Want a practical tool? Do the energy checklist. List 3 people or environments that lift you up, that inspire you, challenge you, and make you think bigger, and 3 that drain you or keep you stuck in the same place. Over the next few weeks, double your time with the first group and cut in half your contact with the second. It's simple but transformative, because energy is contagious, and all progress begins with proximity. While most people accept their current circle and delay the right connections, those who think like the elite act intentionally. Millionaires don't wait to be invited. They put themselves where the right conversations are happening. They join masterminds, leadership forums, investment events, spaces where the average is higher. And the most interesting part, they don't go there to get something, but to contribute. That mindset shift changes everything because it attracts real reciprocity. A clear example is Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn. Before becoming a billionaire, he participated in small entrepreneur groups in Silicon Valley, offering ideas, connections, and feedback, even without any status. Years later, those same people became his investors and advisors. He didn't seek networking, he built an ecosystem. That's elite thinking. Understanding that a network isn't a collection of contacts, it's a continuous value exchange. So if you want to think like a millionaire, look at your environment. You don't need to cut people out. You need to choose who influences you more, who makes you think bigger, who makes you uncomfortable with your own mediocrity. Those are the people who expand your mental ceiling. Because in the end, wealth isn't just about money, it's about proximity to those already living at the performance level you want to reach. 5-star 10-year goals. Plus, habit systems, not just magic objectives. Most people live stuck in short-term, impulsive goals. I want to make X by the end of the year. I want to buy Y in 3 months. But millionaires play a different game, the long-term one. They think in decades, not quarters. They know that time is their greatest asset, and vision is what multiplies it. While the average person seeks instant gratification, the mentally wealthy plant seeds today to harvest with compound interest tomorrow. That's the difference between urgency and purpose. Tim Denning writes that long games are the only ones that truly pay off. And it's not just philosophy, it's psychology. A Stanford study on delayed gratification showed that individuals who could wait for bigger rewards in the future tended to accumulate up to 250% more wealth over their lifetime. That's because self-control shapes daily decisions. What you study, who you associate with, what you consume. Millionaires don't think, how much can I earn now? They think, who am I becoming in the next 10 years? Practical tool, create your 10-year map. Right where you want to be financially, geographically, and in terms of impact. Then, define 3 habits that, if repeated daily, would move you in that direction. It could be daily reading, monthly investing, strategic networking. The secret isn't in the size of the action, it's in the consistency. Small, accumulated habits produce exponential results. Success is always a side effect of intelligent repetition. And here's a little-known insight. According to psychologist Carol Dweck from Stanford University, people with a growth mindset maintain long-term habits even without immediate results. In her 2018 experiments, she showed that 87% of goals fail because they're emotional and isolated. But those who build daily action systems stay productive even during uncertain times. The elite don't rely on motivation, they rely on structure. The average mindset waits to have more time, have more money, or be ready to begin. The millionaire mindset does the opposite. It starts now with what it has. It's the idea of personal leverage, acting small but with a big vision. Because what you do today doesn't need to be massive. It needs to be consistent. Daily discipline is the mark of someone who truly believes in their own future. So before chasing magic goals, build a system that makes you unavoidably better. Think in 5, 10, 20 years. Who do you want to be? What do you want to represent? What do you want to leave behind? That clarity is the elite's fuel. Because while most people chase short-term goals, millionaires build systems that keep growing even when they're resting. That's not luck. It's mental engineering applied to time. Investing in yourself and in growing assets, even if you're low on cash right now. Many people think investing is something you start doing once you have extra money. But the truth is, that mindset is exactly what keeps most people stuck. The millionaire mindset understands that the first asset you build is internal, knowledge, skill, and emotional control. Because if you don't master yourself first, any external investment will be sabotaged. Wealth doesn't start in your bank account, it starts in your mindset. An article in Psychology Today highlighted that wealth alone doesn't bring happiness, but having a sense of control over one's assets, including emotional ones, is directly linked to well-being and sustainable prosperity. 2022. The study looked at 600 high-earning professionals and found that the most fulfilled weren't those making the most money, but those who had clarity about where their money and energy were going. In other words, they invested with intention, not impulse. Here's a simple tool. List 3 growth assets you already have or can start building now, even without capital. It might be a valuable skill, a network of contacts with partnership potential, or a small monthly investment that helps you learn about the market. Choose one and commit to nurturing it weekly. That symbolic act creates the habit of expansion, the same pattern that, over time, produces real abundance. The mistake most people make is spending to look successful. The wealthy invest to multiply. That's what Thomas Stanley describes in The Millionaire Next Door. Real millionaires avoid flashy consumption and prioritize quiet growth. While the average person buys a car to prove success, the millionaire buys assets that someone else's car will pay for. That mindset shift is the dividing line between those who show off and those who build. Take the example of a young American engineer named Luis. He didn't earn much, but chose to spend 10% of his income on online courses and networking. Within 2 years, the knowledge and connections led him to a position that tripled his income. It wasn't a miracle or luck. It was strategic reinvestment. He realized early that the highest ROI in the world is still investing in yourself. So if you're low on funds right now, understand this. It's not the end. It's the starting point. The elite start small, but they start by investing. Because those who invest without money are investing mentally. And those who invest mentally attract opportunities that money alone could never buy. Wealth is a reflection of how much you grow, not how much you flaunt. That's why while most people spend to look rich, millionaires invest so they never have to prove anything. Managing risk, learning from failure, and not freezing in fear. The millionaire mindset understands that fear isn't the enemy, it's a tool. While most people freeze in the face of uncertainty, the wealthy see risk as data. They test, fail, learn, and adjust quickly. Fear exists to protect, but those who live only in protection mode never progress. The difference lies in the meaning you assign to failure. The average person sees punishment, the millionaire sees information. And that emotional interpretation is what decides who grows and who stays stuck. Tim Denning often says, "Fear isn't a sign of danger, it's a sign of expansion." And he's right. Research from Harvard Business School, 2020, found that leaders who review their failures weekly, rather than avoid them, increase their high-pressure decision-making performance by 45%. They treat mistakes as learning reports, not as trauma. That's elite psychology, turning every fall into insight. A simple practice is creating an experiment log. Every week, write down something you tried, what went wrong, and what you learned. This reduces fear by shifting your focus from "I failed" to "I gathered data." The University of Michigan 2018 found that this kind of self-reflection can reduce cortisol and the stress hormone by up to 60%. It's literally courage training. The more you act, the weaker fear becomes. Most people avoid risk because they believe they can't afford to lose. The elite think the opposite. What's the risk of not trying? It's the difference between protecting the present and building the future. Warren Buffett calls this intelligent risk, when the downside is measurable, but the learning is permanent. Millionaires don't eliminate fear, they tame it. They learn to feel fear and act anyway. That's emotional maturity applied to money. A study published on RCAF titled Talent versus Luck, 2018, revealed another interesting insight. Extreme success does involve some luck, but those who try more often find more luck. Simulations showed that people who exposed themselves to more opportunities dramatically increased their chances of a lucky break. In other words, the fear of failing not only limits your actions, it also reduces your odds of random success. So if you want to think like a millionaire, Stop running from failure and start counting it as part of the process. Every attempt is a seed planted in unknown soil. Some won't grow, others will become trees. The elite understands that failure is inevitable, but quitting is optional. That's why the people who grow the fastest aren't the ones with the least fear, but the ones who act in spite of it. Freedom as the ultimate goal, wealth as a means, not the end. Most people chase money as if it were the final prize, but those who think like millionaires know that money is just a tool. The real goal is freedom. Freedom of time, freedom of choice, and freedom to make an impact. It's the ability to say no without fear, to set your own pace, and to build something with real purpose. The elite mindset doesn't seek status. It seeks control. And control is the purest form of peace. Tim Denning writes, "Those who chase wealth for status become slaves to it." And the data backs this up. Princeton University studied 4,500 high-income professionals and found that beyond a certain point, increased earnings no longer bring more satisfaction. What rises is stress. The difference between those who thrive with ease and those who burn out lies in intention. Long-term millionaires don't chase money, they chase options. Here's a simple reflection. If you saved and invested a fixed amount for the next 10 years, what kind of freedom would that give you? Not what possessions. Visualize it. Waking up without an alarm, choosing which projects to work on, having time for family or your health. When you associate money with freedom instead of vanity, every financial decision gains purpose. It's the antidote to burnout and comparison. Practical tool. Define 2 non-monetary freedoms that truly matter to you. It could be quality time, mobility, or creative independence, and outline how your financial plan supports them. That clarity turns effort into meaning. Because motivation doesn't come from the number in your bank account. It comes from the life that number makes possible. The elite doesn't work for figures. They work for freedom. Think of a real example. American investor Naval Ravikant built enough wealth to never have to work again, and yet he stays active. When asked why, he said, "Money buys freedom, and freedom is doing what expands you, not what drains you." He understood early on that wealth without purpose is just a fancy prison. The key is to use money as a way to amplify life, not to fill it. So in the end, thinking like a millionaire means understanding that the game isn't about accumulation. It's about choice. Choosing who to be with, where to live, and how to spend your time. Money is the lever. Freedom is the destination. That's why truly wealthy people are often discreet, not because they're hiding what they have, but because they've already found what matters most. Peace of mind, free time, and the feeling that what they do every day has meaning. And if this video was helpful, subscribe to our channel for more content on financial psychology. I'll see you in the next video. It should be showing up on your screen now.